What if one ordinary night after filming quietly crossed an invisible line and no one realized it until the entire internet was already watching? What if a moment meant to ensure safety became a mirror reflecting the most uncomfortable truths of the entertainment industry? In early January 2026, a story surfaced that spread faster than anyone could control, not because of romance, but because of fear, uncertainty, and silence. A respected actress, a popular male co-star, a suspicious car in the dark, and a decision that would ignite global debate. At first, it sounded like a simple precaution. Then, fragments emerged. Conflicting voices, vague statements, emotional reactions from fans who felt something was not being fully explained. Overnight, a private incident transformed into a public reckoning. People were no longer asking who was right or wrong, they were asking something deeper. When safety and power intersect behind closed doors, who truly gets to choose? Stay with me, because this story is not about scandal. It is about boundaries, pressure, and the quiet moments that shape careers long before headlines ever appear. The incident reportedly unfolded after a long and exhausting filming day. The production had wrapped late in the evening, the kind of day that leaves cast and crew mentally drained, physically worn, and eager to return to familiar spaces. By all accounts, the atmosphere at the set was relaxed. Laughter, casual conversations, and the sense of completion that comes when months of intense work finally pause. No one present seemed to expect that the night would take a sudden turn. Yet during the journey away from the filming location, something felt off. A vehicle appeared to follow, maintaining distance, mirroring turns, lingering just long enough to create unease. In an industry where privacy is fragile and unwanted attention is a constant risk, such moments are never taken lightly. At this point, decisions had to be made quickly. Returning home could expose a personal address. Stopping publicly might escalate the situation. In these circumstances, the priority becomes safety, but safety rarely comes with a clear instruction manual. According to various accounts, an alternative location was chosen as a temporary refuge. What followed, however, was not simply a logistical choice, but a moment layered with professional relationships, unspoken expectations, and the weight of public image. This is where the narrative begins to fracture, because intention and perception do not always align. Some accounts describe a gesture of immediate concern, a colleague offering support in what seemed like a reasonable response to a perceived threat. From this angle, the decision appears protective, even selfless. In a high-pressure industry, moments of human instinct can override protocol. The idea that someone would open their door to ensure another's safety resonates deeply with audiences who want to believe in decency behind fame. Yet other voices suggest a more complicated reality, one shaped by hierarchy, obligation, and the fear of disrupting carefully managed professional harmony. As hours passed, discomfort reportedly grew. Fatigue, stress, and emotional strain can distort judgment, particularly after months of intense filming schedules that stretch well beyond normal working limits. When someone is already depleted, even small tensions can feel overwhelming. According to some sources, there was a desire to leave later that night, to seek a neutral space, to regain control of the situation. This is where questions intensify, because safety is not only about physical protection, it is also about emotional autonomy, about being heard when expressing discomfort, even if no harm is intended. Witnesses would later describe raised voices, gestures, and an atmosphere charged with urgency. Nothing overt, nothing definitively proven, yet enough to spark global debate. The absence of clear footage or official detail allowed speculation to flourish. In the digital age, silence is rarely neutral. Every omission invites interpretation. When statements were eventually released, they focused on reassurance rather than explanation. Safety was emphasized, details withheld, names left unspoken. For some, this was responsible discretion. For others, it felt incomplete, almost evasive. What truly fueled the reaction was not the event itself, but what it symbolized. The entertainment industry often blurs personal and professional boundaries. Actors rely on each other not only creatively, but logistically, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. When combined with unequal power dynamics, these dependencies can complicate consent in subtle ways. Saying yes does not always mean agreement. Remaining silent does not always mean comfort. These nuances are difficult to capture in official statements, yet they resonate deeply with audiences who recognize similar patterns in their own workplaces. Social media amplified every angle. Some defended intentions, emphasizing character, history, and reputation. Others focused on agency, asking why alternatives were not pursued, why professional protocols were seemingly bypassed. The conversation shifted from individuals to systems. Should production teams have clearer emergency procedures? Are performers given enough autonomy when safety concerns arise? How much responsibility should colleagues bear when stepping in, and where should the line be drawn? Another layer often overlooked is the psychological aftermath. Being followed, even briefly, can leave lingering anxiety. So, can feeling unheard in a moment of vulnerability? These experiences do not disappear once schedules resume. They follow individuals quietly, shaping how safe they feel on future sets, during late-night shoots, or while traveling alone. The public rarely sees this side, yet it is where the true impact often lies. This story also reveals how quickly narratives solidify before facts do. Once a frame is established online, it becomes difficult to dismantle. People choose sides, not always because they know the truth, but because they see reflections of their own values. Protection versus autonomy, intent versus impact, silence versus transparency. None of these exist in isolation, and yet digital discourse demands simple conclusions. Perhaps the most important takeaway is not about who made the right choice that night, but about what the industry can learn. Safety should never rely on improvisation alone. Clear procedures, independent support, and the empowerment of individuals to voice discomfort without fear of professional consequences are essential. When these structures are weak, even well-meaning actions can become sources of harm or misunderstanding. As audiences, we also carry responsibility. Curiosity should not erase compassion. Discussion should not become judgment. Behind every headline is a human being navigating pressure few of us will ever experience. Asking better questions matters more than reaching faster conclusions. If stories like this make us uncomfortable, perhaps that discomfort is necessary. It pushes conversations forward. It challenges long-standing norms. And it reminds us that progress often begins in the quiet spaces where someone finally feels safe enough to speak. If you value thoughtful storytelling that goes beyond gossip and explores the human side of entertainment, I invite you to support this channel. Subscribe to LVT-SHOWBIZ, share your perspectives respectfully in the comments, and stay with us as we continue to unpack the stories shaping the industry we all follow. Thank you for watching, for listening with empathy, and for being part of a community that believes understanding is more powerful than outrage.